Good morning, evening, or afternoon, everybody. It's Kaghoe coming at you with another video. So today we are doing our weekly numbers breakdown video and sort of taking a deep dive into Cataclysm numbers as well as the Season of Discovery numbers that we have been analyzing for the past couple months. And these numbers this week are pretty surprising. I made a few predictions in last week's video, and we'll definitely take a look at if those predictions came to pass, and we will definitely take a look at the numbers. But before we get into the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Everything you guys do helps my channel grow, helps me get discovered, and helps me help as many people as possible, which is the entire point of my channel. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So I'm going to switch it over here to the Cata and Classic WoW numbers and dive right into it. So we are here at the overall Classic TBC, Watlake, and Cataclysm populations. So this is Classic 2019 onward. So it's actually broken up pretty nicely from this point to this first dip is Classic. From this dip right here to here is TBC. From right here all the way to down to 50k is the Wrath expansion, and then right here at the end is Cataclysm. So looking at Classic 2019 Original Vanilla, it actually maintained about average probably 350,000 raiders most of the expansion. I've not added them all up all the weeks and divided it out to give you that exact average, but it looks pretty close to that. The only fall off was really Nax, because Nax was really hard, as well as COVID was kind of ending, so a lot more people couldn't work remotely and were headed back, because this was right in the midst of COVID-19 and everyone was mobile, working from home, lockdown, all that fun stuff. So you know what goes better with a lockdown? World of Warcraft and playing your childhood game, especially for the first time on an official Blizzard server. So I think a lot of Classic success has to do with COVID and lockdown and seeing these huge numbers. Next, we have TBC, which TBC was well known as sort of an elitist, sweaty raiding expansion, and as you can see, raid numbers reflect that. Pretty much from the beginning and all the way through, it was over about 300k towards the end, until the end of Sunwell. So TBC really held up that 300k mark, and then we go into Wrath of the Lich King, obviously Blizzard's most popular expansion. Wrath's first rating peaked at 626,000 players. That is just nuts to see that many players going back and doing Nax again. Then we have Oldar, and then we have ICC and TOGC. But these numbers reflect really strongly about how people loved Wrath of the Lich King. And then finally we come to Cataclysm. So I am very, very, very concerned with Cataclysm, because when we take a look at Cata's peak numbers of the 317,000 right here that we see, what is very worrisome to me at the very least is that this is its peak right now. We might see a higher peak in Firelands. I'm not ruling that out. But the 317,000 peak is crazy, because if we look at Classic Era, it had a peak of almost 500k. TBC had a peak of 400,000, and Wrath had 626,000 as its peaks. So peaking at 317,000, half of Wrath of the Lich King, is really alarming, and the drop off has been insane. Most of these expansions drop off when you're in like week 10 to 20 of the in-game raid. So like we see Nax, we see Sunwell, we see ICC. ICC went even longer than 10 to 20. I think it was like 28 weeks by the end of it. But seeing those drop-offs, we don't see that in the previous expansions until the final raids. Like, we're at an all-time low at an all-time early part here, and it is very concerning for Cataclysm and sort of the Classic project. It makes me wonder if we'll even get MOP. Hopefully Firelands is good and brings back a lot of players, and a lot of people try it out. I know people really enjoyed Firelands back in the day, and people regarded it as the best raid of the expansion. So they did give us the Firelands launch date as well. Anyway, let's go over to Season of Discovery for our comparison. So, as you can see, this was Phase 1 of SoD, and then this is where Phase 2 came into being, right here at this drop-off. And then this is where Phase 3 started, and then Phase 3 went all the way down to here to about 20k raiders. And then this was Phase 4, this was World Bosses, and this was MC. So, that's just a rough breakdown. Phase 1 peaked at almost 500,000 players. Phase 2 peaked at 327,000 players. And Phase 3 peaked at 185,000 players. So big points of emphasis is the jump from these were 10-man raids, and then this became to the 20-man raid meta. And then most of these phases were about 8 to 12 weeks. Phase 3 was 14 weeks. So it really sucks to see that happen. And as you can see, as it was long and drawn out, and people didn't really like Sunken Temple as a raid, it was too hard. It was very unpuggable. Numbers dwindled down really, really bad. However, Phase 4 has reinvigorated Season of Discovery. As you can see, in Phase 4, it peaked at 88,517 players, and then we have our Phase 5 launch here that has surpassed that. So we're at 88,478. I don't know why I'm struggling with this 8 number, but that is as close to our all-time peak. And then we have just a little bit less raiders from this full week of Phase 5 and BWL. So seeing this number get up here to the 70Ks at the very least, like 75,000, all of Phase 4, and then maintaining it is really good. I was honestly expecting it to go over 100k and keep climbing, because we've seen the mega server merger. We have seen everyone go to servers, so all the population is there. I see pugs every day here on Crusader Strike. I see it being a very vibrant server. However, we just don't. The numbers just not there. This is from raid log. These are from Warcraft logs and number of raiders, so keep that in mind when we analyze that. But to me, I'm shocked. I figured we would have more, but I guess, a lot of people just do the raid once and give up, or there's just, a lot of flux with people's schedules. And retail and War Within is doing really well. I know a lot of creators are over there playing that, and I wish I sort of had good comparisons for that, but like, you have a Mythic Plus graph and rating. I don't really know how many active players there are. That would be what I would love to see most, is like how many people here in SoD are just PvPers and do world events and stuff like that, and don't really dabble in the raids, because that is where the numbers are. And I don't think ZG counts right now as logs for the raid, because it's just too hard to deal. So it's just really interesting to see all this and where we're headed and what is SoD looking for in the future. Cata is still alarmingly dying. Like, we compared all of those really hard and looked at it, and that is really bad, because if that peters out and they hit like those all-time SoD low numbers, we might, that puts the entire longevity of the Classic project in jeopardy. And, I shared my Classic Plus theory, so maybe that is the play, and that is what we're headed towards. But it is still alarming, especially if you're someone who enjoys Cata. SoD is healthy and is remaining around that 88,000 mark that we've seen since Phase 4. So that's a good, healthy, returning player base that play every week. So that's always good to see. But anyway, that is my analysis. I would love to hear what you guys think. If you agree, disagree, you have any predictions, definitely drop them down below in the comments. I love reading them and having awesome discussions with you guys. But until next time, I'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Hey you. Yes you. Are you still there? Well, I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this entire video and making it to the end here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely check out the other videos about World of Warcraft listed in these playlists down below. And thank you again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.